That's good.
Right, get started here. All right, first, good morning. I hope is it still sub-zero out? I see lots of people bundled up. I hate the cold. I've lived in Wisconsin my whole life, still hate it. But I guess I'd rather live here than deal with all the crazy big bugs and stuff in like other super warm states. So, all right, so we're gonna get going. You're probably not gonna need anything on your computers for a little bit, but I know how it is. If you got things to check, things to keep up on, not a big deal. So we're gonna get rolling. Oops, let me click over here first. So here's how today's gonna kind of run. Do some intros to myself. I'm gonna ask you to introduce yourselves, set some class expectations, how things are gonna go. We're gonna go over the syllabus, make sure you all feel comfortable with that. We have a mini lesson. It's gonna be very low key, hopefully a little entertaining, that we're gonna do. Some film trivia, because I wanna see how much you know. And then you're gonna have your first assignment, which again, is gonna be very low key and you will have time at the end to work on that. So, a little bit about myself. My name is Josh, but a little bit of a fourth wall break. I don't know. I was a high school teacher, so it was very common to go like Mr. whatever last name. Do you do that for your instructors, or do you like call people like Jim and stuff like that?
Yeah, like preference.
Preference?
No, I look for these before. As the starter, Miss Mrs. last name.
Gotcha.
On the first line.
Okay, so if you are in that camp and you want the formality, Mr. K is fine. That's what I went by. Of course. My last name is pronounced Cook. It is not Cock. Don't make me live my high school trauma. That was a long whole thing. But yeah, Mr. K is fine, or Josh is fine. I'm pretty informal. You'll probably pick that up pretty quick. A little bit about me. So my graduate degree is from UW-Madison. So I studied communication arts in the TV, radio, film department, and also creative writing. So I double majored. So where I met my wife, she's way smarter than me. She has her master's already, so she's doing her thing and rocking on. Here's just a small smattering of things that I've done. So my resume is kind of a dumpster fire. I was a product photographer for a couple of years. I worked as a social media manager / specialist at a company called Viking Q in Madison for a bit. I got to shoot on a rap video in Madison with a Madison artist. So that video that we shot has, I think it's sitting at like 130,000 views for that artist, which is pretty cool. So I'd never gotten to use a fancy camera and be in a green screen room. I currently am doing some work for a friend who partners with sports teams. So I've gotten to do some stuff for the Bucks, the Sixers, Marquette, DePaul University. And then I like to make my own stuff. So the top right corner is a shot from a short film I did, some photos I did for a friend and his family. So I like getting my hands messy in all sorts of creative stuff, whatever that looks like. A couple artists that have inspired me and are some of my favorites. So from this side to that side, Christopher Nolan, my favorite director. I think Tenet is one of the most slept on movies ever. If you've never seen it, go watch it. That might be a homework assignment, but it's going to be a long one. Next is Jackie Hill Perry. She is one of my favorite poets / writers. Ryan Clark, he is a vocalist for a band called Demon Hunter and also the co-owner of a graphic design company called Invisible Creature. So they've done stuff for like NASA, Disney, really cool. Mike Shinoda, I got to cross off seeing Linkin Park off my bucket list this year, which was or last year, I guess, which is pretty awesome. So Mike Shinoda is one of my favorite artists musically and also in terms of illustration and his digital work. And then Mike Pondsmith. So if you don't know him, he created Cyberpunk 2020, which is the thing that, for my nerds in the room, was the basis for the video game Cyberpunk 2077. And so speaking of games and movies and shows, these are some of my favorite things. Probably none of you are old enough to know this game, but The World Ends With You. If you're an anime fan, it's awesome. Great story. Blew my mind as a kid. Attack on Titan, love it so much. I have a tattoo of it on my ankle. Cyberpunk, like I mentioned, big fan of The Punisher, Mass Effect. I don't know how many times I've played through that series. And Castlevania, not just the show, but also the games, because I'm a little bit old school, even though I'm not that old. So with that, I'd like to learn a little bit about all of you. This is also going to be my chance to take attendance. So don't sweat if you were a little bit late today. I know it was like dumb cold and my car almost didn't start, so not a worry. I'm going to read off of my chart, and what I would like to hear from you is your preferred first name. So whatever you tell me, that's what I'm going to call you the rest of the year. Please don't say like, I don't know, like Ice Cream Master 24 or something. Like, give me like an actual name. How many semesters left or how many semesters in you are, however that works for you. And then your favorite creation. So that can be a show, that can be a game, that can be an album, whatever. So only one though. Got to pick your favorite. So with that, Lisbeth, you here? Yeah. Lisbeth, does that work for you?
Lisbeth or Liz?
Liz? Okay, Liz.
Fine.
Liz, how many semesters do you have left?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just like talking to my wife, so like, okay.
Just having a blast. Just living it up. Dig it. And then what's your all-time favorite creation?
What was the question? That was not.
Favorite show, favorite game, favorite movie, book, album, whatever.
What's it called? Like Prime? No, not that Prime. Primal.
Primal. Oh, yeah. Is it Tarkovsky? Samurai Jack guy.
Yes.
Is it that? Yeah, love that. Great. Scott. I don't think I have more than one Scott. I have one Scott. Scott.
Yeah, Scott's good.
Okay.
Semesters left. I got 2 left
Awesome.
after this one. And then favorite game is probably NBA 2K.
Okay. Do you have like a year? Like, was it a year when like, I don't know, Kobe was 99 or something? Just the franchise as a whole?
Probably 13 because that's like kind of when I first.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I always am fascinated by those years when it was like who was on the cover, who was the top ranked player, stuff like that. So awesome. Ulysses. Prefer Ulysses? Yeah? Okay.
Really like my third semester, so I have like 2.
Okay.
Favorite creation. Like, I mean, right now you can watch like a lot of South Park.
Nice. Nice. Old school or new school South Park?
I like the old school style, but I mean, new school's alright.
Gotcha. No, it's all good. I'm a big fan of Matt Parker and Trey Stone and their writing stuff. I think I only have one. Sarah? Oh, there's 2 of you, and you're sitting next to each other. Thanks a lot. Okay. Oh, I do have 2 Sarahs. Okay. Are you Sarah Kate Elms or Sarah Jean?
Sarah.
Okay, Sarah Jean. All right. Do you, in any of your other, have you had other classes together?
One boy around like opposite side.
Okay. Does one of you go by like Sarah 1 and Sarah 2, or like, how do you do that?
Never like know the teacher, because the teacher was also named Sarah. Yeah.
That's too much for me. It's too early for that.
More than one.
Okay. So maybe I'll do Sarah J, Sarah K. Does that work?
Go by Sarah D.
Sarah Jean? Okay. Got it. So Sarah, Sarah J. That's what I'm gonna lock in my brain. Favorite creation.
Probably the Sinister.
Oh,
Oh, interesting choice. Okay.
It,
Do you like? Are you one of those sadists that pulls the ladder out of the pool, or do you actually like build the whole city? Okay. All right. I do that. I respect it. Sarah K. We'll take care of that. So Sarah, and then what is your favorite? I think I also missed how many semesters you have left. You both can.
Touchy. Yeah.
2. Okay.
Like things change. I think like, like, this is like,
Ooh. Which Miyazaki film is your favorite?
it's a calling, like, that's although the account.
That's a good one. That's a very good one. I had one of my all-time favorite classes at UW I got to take. It was like, I think the only time they ever offered it, but it was religion and anime. And the whole class was watching anime. So I had to like watch Neon Genesis and Ghibli films. And then you had to like analyze that, all this stuff about like religion and philosophy. And it was awesome. It was very fun. Josh.
we dropped it.
Okay.
I mean, I like, we were pretty special.
Okay.
Say, Alum. Not
1 through 5 ODST. Which one are we talking? Reach. My man, that's a good one. Megan.
Megan Inspires. I don't know how many semesters I have left. I'm a transfer student, thing but weird, so I'm just vibing with that.
Vibing with that. I respect it.
I think if you're asking a moment what my favorite creation is, it's Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess.
Ooh. So you were a Wii or GameCube era kid? Yes. is the answer. Okay, gotcha. That is one I have on my list to play. Yeah, it's fan. I played through part of it when I was a kid, but I had one of those like awful younger brothers that deleted my save, and so I just was like, at 12, you're like, you know what? It's lost cause. We're
I
not.
nerdily wanted so if you play that one.
Okay. I'm a big baby with games, so I might have to do that. Tyler, how many semesters you got left? And I love that this is the answer. This is great. You are my people. We're just doing it. We're here. I have to be here. Favorite creation?
As of recently, like, 2 days ago, I rediscovered William. So, I could blame that.
Nice. Awesome. Any specific game?
We in Sports Report.
Yeah. Sword fighting with your brother? All right, I like it. Awesome. Violet?
Good.
No. Okay. James, how many semesters you got left? Favorite creation?
Right. Semesters, I can't really remember, but my favorite creation is Minecraft.
Okay. Awesome. And okay, I have a Nathan and a Nathaniel, so we're gonna do the whole Sarah thing. So Nathan, Kyle. Nathan. Okay.
Have preference over Nathan or Maine.
Okay.
So that's good. 2 or 3, but pretty sure it's 2 sponsors.
Okay.
In fact, I don't really do the favorites very much because I like too many things.
Okay. I hear that.
Christopher Nolan being like one of my top directors. So,
What's the last movie you saw from him?
Memento.
Memento. Okay. Interesting. Not Oppenheimer or... Because I think that's technically most recent I heard. Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. Nathaniel. All right. All good. Oh, I think I got an email from him. Barinder. Did I pronounce that right? Yeah, you did. Okay. Awesome.
So, I believe I don't know, I'm the rest of that work. And then my favorite creation would be, I just started a show called Start on Netflix.
Oh, I've heard of this. Mm-hmm.
It's pretty interesting. So,
Nice. Awesome. Excuse me. Chuck. Is Chuck here? Chuck is not here. All right, that is all good. Natalie.
You can call me
Nat, all right. Semesters and favorite thing.
Nat. Re-smashed the butt Carlos and played a TV show that's Minecraft.
Gilmore Girls. Okay. Awesome. Specific season?
I don't think
Last 2. Okay. feel like that's not common that the last ones are best. There's a nod to Game of Thrones coming up at the end, so we'll, shots fired. Leah. Leah, all right. Leah, how many semesters do you have left?
I don't know. I
All right, you're just on the fun train. And favorite creation?
probably I need Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay. Are you like big Titanic? I feel like everyone yells at me.
I think that's the best movie.
I would agree. I've never seen it, but I'm in the same boat. Coco. Oh shoot! I didn't even think of that. That was good. Coco.
Fine.
Well then, that's chill. And then I think the Beast Nestrix lets him create this one. And I have a lot of favorite things, but I think the one that is at the most impact, I guess, would be Dark Souls 2, and I will bow back.
Man, I want to pick your brain about like Elden Ring and Bloodborne. Not Bloodborne. That just monster of a game. All right, Thomas.
Right.
Thomas.
I put down.
Thomas. Okay. And then Thomas, how many semesters do you have left?
5.
5. Okay. And what is your favorite creation?
Yeah, I go between a few things, but I basically like fiction and again.
Okay.
Currently, I've been playing a lot of Stevie Bisbee.
Okay. Nice. I haven't heard of that one. You'll have to tell me more about that. Kaylee. Kaylee.
Time.
All right.
Beast Nestrix stuff. Yeah, but really like show you some that.
Breaking Bad. All right. Great choice. Honest confession, that is like something I haven't watched. It missed me, so I have to make my way through that. Yeah. I know the guy who made it did Pluribus now, which I've heard mixed things on. I'm curious, but yeah, it is what it is. So, all right. Well, thank you for introducing yourselves. It might take me a little bit to memorize names, so if I just like point at you and like I'm like you, yes you, that's just as I'm learning. So, the thing that I want to kind of set the stage on for our class is kind of our why and what we are going to be focusing on. So this class is going to do a little bit of video recording, primarily editing, and primarily theory. So not just like, like how do you be an auteur or like some weird term, but when people make decisions, when they're editing or creating or thinking about creating something, why do they make those decisions? And is there a right and a wrong, or is it more, what am I trying to do and how do I do that thing well? And so we're going to talk about the nuances between like, if you want to make a short film, where does your brain need to be? If you want to make an ad for a company, where does your brain need to be? And how all of that is very connected, but there's like little differences that make that shift more nuanced, I guess. And then how to switch between those things when you're in different situations and thinking about creating different projects. So with that, now would be the time if you do want to log in on your computers or on a phone. We're just going to go over the syllabus really quick. So I'm going to answer any questions on that front. So I'm going to pull it up myself. Oh, it's weird where to put that. Yep. JK, we're going to...
Clicks.
So I'm going to give you seconds so you can scroll along. Most of this is going to be pretty, it is what it is. I tried to be as clear and direct as I could be. So obviously you know the room and the time because you're here. Thanks for being here, even though it's dumb cold. Like I said, this is going to be a class about the why and then how do we put the why into action for video production. I do have some things I would encourage you to pick up. I'm not going to be like, you absolutely need a notebook. I am a 300 notebooks in my house person where I just have so much crap that I write down all the time. And I find it really helpful. And I feel like in a class like this, like doodling, writing down ideas or just little bits of inspiration is a good practice. But, it's not like, you're going to be in trouble if you don't get one. make sure you get a SSD storage drive. So the reason for that is I found out or heard that these get wiped consistently. So the thing I don't want to have happen to you is you make this amazing Oscar-worthy production, and all of a sudden they wipe the computers over the weekend, and you come back and all your stuff is gone. So that is the main reason. It's also a great investment just because, you know, you're probably going to be working on stuff.
USB drive.
I would recommend something bigger,
Or even something like this or something else.
something higher. So can I borrow that? That's perfect. So this is exactly what I'm thinking. So 2 terabytes is probably on the, like, this man's going to be making his own Christopher Nolan film, so he needs a lot of footage. But something that's like 500 gigabytes is what you want. So video tends to be really high. So thumbs, if you can find a 500 gigabyte thumb drive, I would be very impressed.
Oh, what?
Here, I will
24.
hold tight. This is just where I shop, so. So the reason I'm, actually, this is your first meeting lesson, I guess. So, a lot of you, I believe, are graphic designers, correct? Okay. When you're doing graphic design, the files you're working with are primarily photos, vector files, JPEGs, PNGs, things that have a very, very, very small file size. So when you drag around Photoshop and you add all your effects and all that stuff, the amount of data it needs is not as high. Video gets very high very quick. I have had, I think, the highest like project file, we're talking like music, video footage, effects, everything. The folder that housed everything was close to like 300 gigabytes of data for one project. I don't think we're going to be getting that extreme here, but with hard drives, the reason that I recommend it is it's going to house all of that video that you're going to potentially need in this class or future classes. And then also, the hardware that you are working files from can potentially cause you editing issues. So for example, think of it like if you were driving a car with like a super mega engine, you're driving a car with a super powered engine and you may not use that engine, but like if you had to get that fast you could, versus you're driving on like a moped and you need to get way faster than the moped can go, but you're like locked and then the moped just shuts down because you can't go fast enough. So this is going to make it so that as you're editing, as you're making stuff, as you're creating files, your hard drive can handle the speed at which video needs to edit because it's a little more involved than photo editing.
This in for
Solid state? Yes? My tech people? Solid state drive. So it just means that it's faster. So it processes all the data faster. So if you need recommendations, I will send out an email or a discussion with some like, if you just want the bare minimum and you're planning on not going crazy, like do this. If you're like, oh, I actually might do more of this in the future, you can go. So I'll make that out. I'll send that out. And then the last thing is wired headphones. I actually, they're in my bag, but when we're editing, perfect. When we're editing, I want to make sure that you get to focus on what you're hearing, and you will also pick up things that you will hear better when you are editing using wired headphones. The reason not Bluetooth is because there can be latency, which means that like if you're talking, but then the audio is talking faster, that can happen literally just because of the headphone, not your actual video. And so I want you to be able to attune to the difference with that. So that's why we're going to have headphones. Also, I'm not a big fan of the like having a public conversation on your phone on the bus kind of thing. And if you're all like listening to your own video, like in the same room, like that's going to be a lot. That is pretty much it. I'm assuming you all have Adobe Creative accounts already. Yes? Okay, great. This is me. This is where you can find my email. Feel free to message me in Canvas or just shoot me an email through your school email. I'm happy to meet up and answer any questions or process like any ideas or anything. So I will do that by appointment after class. So if there's something that we cover that you're like, hey, I would really like to pick your brain on this video thing I want to try, how would I do that? Please email me and set up a time to meet. That would be great. Otherwise, if I don't hear from anybody, I'm going to peace out just like you. So just throwing that out there. Attendance. I think there's a whole bunch of fancy schmancy language from the college as a whole about attendance. Here's my thing. I'll be really frank. I was terrible at my high school job. Like, I was the person where I was just like, are you here? Are you doing? Okay, great. Like, I'm not going to make a big stink about it. To today, like, if you show up within, 8:30, 8:40, I'm probably not going to care. If you're showing up like way later to the point that it's like disrupting everybody because you're like throwing your bag in and you're like, ooh, what a day, and like all that, that's gonna be a different story. But please be here. I will be recording everything for future classes and in case like people are sick, people are gone, to share out. But that is not necessarily going to be immediately made available just like as a whole, so don't think like, oh, I can skip because he's recording it, because also recording might not work. We're not doing tests or quizzes or anything, so if you do end up being sick or have any illness or other thing that comes up that makes it hard to attend, like, please let me know. Like I said, I try to be very understanding. I had my own like family stuff kind of go crazy at the end of last year, just with some family health issues and stuff, so I get it. Just keep me in the loop, so that helps me know what to communicate to, how to communicate to, all that stuff. Assignments. They're primarily, where are we going with that? So assignments are primarily going to be two things. So there's going to be homework assignments. Good morning. There's going to be homework assignments, and then there's going to be projects. So there's going to be 4 projects in total. They're going to be relatively short edits. They're all going to be things that you can theoretically record with your phone. So we're going to talk about how to do that well. We are going to use some of the fancy cameras potentially later in the class, but again, we're going to focus on the why and get some habits built around editing before we kind of like jump into the Mustang, per se, car metaphors today. You might see this AI policy here, and it's like, do not allow, like, Couple reasons. One, I don't know if you've seen those god-awful sports betting ads that are AI made. I see the people rolling their eyes, like, they're...
The fake Disney one.
There's terrible, it's just bad. We are not at a point where AI is making video that I would say is passable. Like, it's got that weird, it's just weird. So there's that. The other thing too is everything that we are going to be doing, I believe that YouTube and other free online video resources are way better at teaching you than asking ChatGPT, because it's just going to like kind of describe it versus someone actually like walking through things, or us walking together as a class.
Certain things are dumb.
Exactly. And then the last part is you really shouldn't need it. My hope is that as you kind of see how we cover different topics and content in class, the idea of like video AI can be super helpful. So actually that little ad you had, or I had, for the Sixers up on the side, I actually used Midjourney to create some references for me, which then I like traced in Illustrator, threw into After Effects, and then animated it. So stuff like that can be super helpful. Being like, give me a cool shot of a car driving by, and then there's like a random man that like shows up and things like that. It just causes more harm than actually help. So we're just going to kind of push that off to the side. Once we get later in, or when you think about like scripting and stuff, or thinking about like what's an outline or what's my shot list, super helpful. So we will use it there, and I'm totally fine with that. So I wanted to explain that this isn't a like, if I catch you talking to ChatGPT, you're done. Like, not the case. Other things, I think that's the main thing there. Backtrack slightly. So with assignments, the main thing with that I want to encourage is, again, if like, I get it, I totally get it. I was a student once, just long enough that I remember. So if you have things going on or stuff is piling up and you're just like, I'm just really not sure if I'm going to meet a deadline or something, please just let me know. We will work it out. It's not going to be a big deal. But if I don't hear from you and like all of a sudden there's this giant stack of things that you haven't turned in, and we're like, yo, what happened? Where are we? Are we good? So note on that. This is our course schedule. So this is going to be pretty straight on to what we are going to be covering in order. So today we're just going to talk about introductions and some inspiration. So what are the things that inspire us? We'll jump into visual storytelling and some fundamentals with that, audio storytelling, the emotion, how do visuals kind of do that, and we'll keep going all the way to our very last class. And then these are your course projects. So these are going to be the biggest things to do well and to nail. These are the dates that they're going to be due. We will talk about them with a lot of time in advance. So if you're someone who likes to just get things done and not have it on your plate, totally welcome that. Totally take advantage of that. For homework, those assignments are going to be really short. So I'm not intending those to be something that are going to take you like 10 hours to do over a whole weekend. I want it to be something that you're basically getting your hands dirty, messing around in a program, making something so that it's concrete and that you can edit and critique it and share it with other people to critique. And that's kind of it. So with this class, above all else, do not stress about like being perfect and nailing every single thing and knowing every single weird hotkey or shortcut, within like 2 weeks. I'm very much like, I want this to be the spot where you're like, I have this just bonkers idea of a video. Can I try it? And it'd be like, yes, do it. See what happens. So this is not going to be a class for the perfectionists, which hopefully is encouraging on that front. With that, a couple things on my end. So that's the end of our syllabus, so you won't need anything else right now. I want to talk through just some core things for me that matter a lot. I try to keep it very simple. So these are, I would say, the values that I have that I hold very deeply. So the first one is respect. The second one is effort. Third one is fun. So for respect, maybe like one or two people in your classes already that you've had, what has it looked like to have a respectful class environment, especially if you have to share work that you've made with each other?
Oh, look, then very respect.
Being respectful.
Mm.
Add on to that. What does that look like? What's a specific thing that looks like? Yes.
But like giving criticism in a polite and full way.
Yeah, being more encouraging maybe than like, dude, this is dog water. Like, why did you do that? You had your hand up too.
Listening with them going,
Being open-minded. That's great.
not insulting.
Yeah.
Not having like, for me personally, I have this one classmate, like I did apologize to her.
Mm.
Like, I said her name wrong, but like all that time she had a grudge,
Sure.
and it was so difficult working with her.
Yeah. So if there's beef or mistakes that are made, like let's sort it out, right? We're growing, we're figuring it out. We're not going to be perfect. It's fine. Effort. What does effort look like?
Or not putting out, not putting away stuff that was like, it took you 5 seconds to make.
There you go. Don't ChatGPT it. There you go. Other examples of effort. What is effort, especially as you've learned maybe in like, an initial graphic design class, and you're like, crap, I don't understand any of this. Like, this is really stressful.
That's good questions.
Asking questions. Great. Maybe one more.
I'm showing up every day.
Showing up every day. Like I said, I do not expect, like Christopher Nolan, I guess, is the name of the day. But I don't expect like crazy things and, you to like have every single thing figured out. And I do not want you to suffer in silence if you're like, I really don't get it. And this dude is not explaining it well. I can take it. Let me know. We'll sort it out. Fun. I'm gonna explain this one because I have a little more expectations of fun. So, I love humor. I love comedies. I love laughing and making people laugh. That's something that I enjoy. With my experience as a teacher, sometimes that line both ways between students and staff as well can be a little blurry, where someone pushes the line a little too far and it's like, whoa, that wasn't a good idea. We shouldn't have joked with that. So a mini story I had in my college class. It was one of the film classes I had, and we had to make a narrative short film. So it could be about pretty much anything. We were having a discussion. So imagine like this, and we're around like a TV, and everyone's like sharing their projects. A couple people go, like they're fine, it's all like student work. And then this guy, I think he did it as a joke, but it was just very odd. He made his entire short film around a character who had a fetish for balloons. And everyone in the room was just like, what do we do with this? Like, it seems like you're doing it as a joke, but also, like, is this a cry for help? It was just very uncomfortable. So on my end, make sure that if you want to do something that leans into the comedy, leans into the fun, like, be more SNL, be less Borat. Borat is, there's another story at a college class I had, but just make sure that you're being respectful of other people, be respectful of how someone might take something, how someone might interpret something, but don't be afraid to have fun and to make things that might make people laugh. Just make sure it's not at someone's expense. Second thing is avoiding sensitive topics when you're having fun. My senior podcasters, when I was teaching production in high school, they had a sports podcast, and they were covering my sports fans, maybe more basketball, when Ja Morant had his whole like gun in the locker room thing. So if for non-sports fans, very successful player Ja Morant was like having a star season, and then all of a sudden one day in the locker room after a game, his like very expensive gun fell out of his duffel bag in the locker room. The whole big stink, right? Of course, a bunch of senior boys on a sports podcast that I'm not directly sitting in there watching, they're making gun jokes, they're making gun jokes and stuff like that. And so that was one of those convos where it was like, listen, I'm not saying it's not funny, but not the topic to maybe push, especially in a high school setting. And the main reason for that, and this kind of goes into the last thing, is because I want you all to make things that represent you well. I mean, you all are very well aware of this. Our world is not one where you can just kind of like make something, shotgun it out there, and then if it's like really off and like maybe discouraging or offensive or whatever, like that doesn't go away as fast. So I want to make sure that you're thinking critically about how am I going to create things that are going to represent me well, not just today, but moving forward into the future. So that is pretty much the end of it. So my intention is that during our classes, like this is a really long period. Like I was used to teaching for an hour and a half, and that felt long. So going forward, we're going to have like 10-minute breaks kind of sprinkled out. So if you want to just sit, chill, check your phone, check your email, check in, grab water, go to the bathroom, whatever, that's fine. This is going to be our first one. So clock says 9:06. We're going to call it 9:15. So we're going to get back going at 9:15. I'm going to switch some stuff around, get things ready, and then we will continue from there.
One second. Jeez, I think we're well.